Hey everyone, today we're talking about a solar inverter that actually does what it says it will. No gimmicks, no cheap shortcuts. You know the ones I mean, the inverters that promise big numbers but fade out after a year, or the ones that can't handle real-world use without overheating. This one's different. It's the 10.2 kilowatts high-frequency inverter from a brand that's been quietly building reliable gear for years. If you're serious about off-grid power or want to cut your grid bill without constant headaches, this might be the piece you've been waiting for. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So why does this inverter stand out? First off, it's not just solar, it plays nice with wind power too. That's huge if you're in an area with inconsistent sun but steady breezes. I've seen too many setups where people buy a solar-only inverter, then realize later they need to rewire everything when they add a turbine. This one handles both, so you can expand your system without starting over. And it's scalable, 7.2 kilowatts, 8.2 kilowatts, or 10.2 kilowatts models mean you can start small and grow as your needs do. Another thing that impressed me is how quiet it runs. Cheap inverters hum like a swarm of bees, especially under load. This one stays cool and quiet thanks to high-frequency tech and a smart fan that only kicks in when it's really needed. I tested it running a fridge, a few lights, and a laptop for hours straight, no fan noise, no heat buildup, just steady power. That's the kind of reliability you don't think about until you've lived with something that doesn't deliver. Efficiency is where this inverter really shines. It's got a peak conversion rate of over 93%, which means less wasted energy and more usable power for your home. I ran a side-by-side test with a budget inverter I picked up secondhand, and the difference was clear. The cheap one lost about 15% of the solar input to heat and inefficiency. This one? Barely 7%. Over time, that adds up to real savings on your power bill and less strain on your batteries. Safety is built in, too. It's got overload protection, short-circuit protection, and even a low-voltage disconnect to keep your batteries healthy. I've seen too many setups where people fry their inverter because they didn't realize how much power their fridge pulls when it starts up. This one handles surges like a champ and shuts itself down if things get too hot or unstable. That kind of peace of mind isn't something you pay extra for, it's just there, doing its job. Installation is straightforward, too. The manual is actually useful, with clear diagrams and step-by-step instructions. I set mine up in about 2 hours with basic tools, no electrician required. The unit itself is heavy, so you'll want a helper, but the terminals are labeled well, and the wiring diagram is printed right on the side. That's a nice touch compared to some inverters where you're left guessing which wire goes where. Now, no product is perfect, and this one's no exception. The biggest downside is the weight. This thing is a beast. If you're planning to mount it on a wall by yourself, make sure you've got a solid anchor. I ended up using a friend and a come-along to get it up safely. Also, the display is functional but not fancy. It tells you what you need to know: input voltage, output wattage, battery status, but don't expect a touchscreen or Bluetooth app. If you want remote monitoring, you'll need a separate battery monitor or inverter with that feature built in. So who's this inverter for? If you're building an off-grid cabin, a tiny home, or just want to supplement your grid power with solar and wind, this is a solid choice. It's not the cheapest option out there, but it's not the most expensive either. What you're paying for is reliability, efficiency, and the ability to grow your system without starting over. If you're tired of cheap inverters that quit when you need them most, this one's worth a look. Before I wrap up, just a quick reminder that the link to this inverter is in the description if you want to check the details or grab one for yourself. I'll leave it down there for you. Anyway, that's my take. If you've used this inverter, or one like it, I'd love to hear about your experience in the comments. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.